let's say that the minor generational difference between us, there was probably also the need in your generation and just before to embrace a holistic world. There was a, like, because affirmative action was starting to work for some, it meant you put that shirt and tie on, you put that suit on, you work twice as hard as they do, and you work hard. And the work was a work to bring you into the world of power, into the corporate world, into the academic world, into opportunity. And into opportunity meant into whiteness. That there was a kind of, that it required that you put on a new coat and you put on a new speech and you go, you leave Baltimore and you go somewhere where you can learn all the right cues. And if you do that right, not only will you be good, a good citizen, a good human, you'll be rewarded with white adjacency, new friendships. People will need you. You'll be the only Negro at the party, over and over again. And I think that for me, I had absorbed that from the generation before me. So I also wanted to be affirmed in the post-colonial way. I wanted somebody to say, God, that was a great speech. You're really smart. I wanted that. And in some cases, we could say that if I were to try to give that speech to my dad would say, what the hell are you talking about? Right? And so it was a speech for others, right? I wanted to master giving the speech for others. And then when my dad would say, well, what did you talk about today? I was just talking shit, Dad. You know what I mean? Now, I believe that shit, but to my dad, it would amount to the thing you do to make money. That blackness was like, it was like, and this is going in a direction of double consciousness. I don't mean for it to, but it was like blackness was the proud suit that you could put on to demonstrate that you were as good as anyone else in the world. And it was the ability to take that suit off and be yourself. So I think that if we were talking about blackness within the exhibition, it would be both the demonstration that there are art chops. And then there's some stuff that y'all don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't know, and I'm not telling you. It doesn't matter. It's the conversation that I have in private. And so it feels like one way of defining blackness has something to do with the ability to be publicly, and then the moments for survival where you choose not to be, or to be private, to be private, to be
black at home.
To be a more whole self, until one arrives to the point where one can be one's whole self all the time, right? So that there's no suit that you put on temporarily. So I think that the thing that I feel good about now is I don't feel like I'm contending with a white contemporary art world in this exhibition. I feel like I made home for myself. That's one. This other notion about blackness, and you mentioned the word authenticity, that I now know that the signifiers of blackness are being readily eaten by everyone. Everyone wants to eat. And so I have to ask myself, well, given that there's a hungry world, hungry to consume some little part of me, who am I relative to the hungry world? And I would say post-phenon, post-colonial, post-colonial blackness would say, I can continue to be myself, even though they're hungry. I don't have to dodge others' appetites with abstraction. I don't have to dodge someone's appetite with abstraction because they want to consume it. I'm making because I need to make this because I need a safe home in Haus der Kunst. And I think that I can build a safe house anywhere. Now that means if me and the monks are traveling, when I was 20, let's say Michael has really weird hair. When I was 20, maybe I would be embarrassed that Michael's hair is so different from everybody else's. And I would say, hey, Mike, man, can you put a hat on? And Mike would be like, why are you asking me to put a hat on? My hair is really black. And I'd be like, can you just, like, turn it down a little? You know? And I would have an anxiety about Michael's hair because we would be walking into a room of fucking Germans who don't have hair like Michael. Today, I don't think about Michael at all. I mean, no offense.
Beautiful.
But you know what I mean? And I think that something happened in the pursuit of an essential blackness that I was able to work through it to arrive to the point where I know now, Hamza, that the title didn't have to be Black Chapel. Could have been Chapel. Could have been Black Madonna, could have been Madonna. Black Archive, could have been Archive. And so why the choice then to constantly put black in the front of the fucking title? Because my hope is that by putting black in front of the title in Germany, that black people would be clear that this wasn't a show about a chapel that would essentially be a white chapel. If anybody else makes a show, it's gonna be called Chapel. But I hope that there's a couple extra sisters and brothers in the room. The black part becomes a calling card. It becomes oh, hey, we up in here. We're represented. You know what I mean? And that choice feels powerful.